Okay, this is not so much of a weapon as it is a training device for the shoulders. I feel like I need a bipod for this. There are many advantages to power armor, the more obvious ones being great protection, looking amazingly cool, jetpacks, and the ability to fall great heights without taking any damage. But of course the most important benefit of power armor is the fact that you can mod it to allow you to carry more stuff. That's right, you can have motion assisted power armor with calibrated shocks on the legs, and you will carry a lot more junk before becoming over encumbered. But sometimes I just find I want to get out of the power armor to have a face-to-face conversation with someone, or to go off and do some trading not encased in metal. Of course, as soon as I do that, I become over encumbered because I'm now carrying way too much stuff, including a lot of weapons that I probably don't really need right now. And I've often thought how useful it would be to be able to get out of your power armor and leave behind some of your big guns, your minigun, with the power armor. Well, with a mod called Power Armor Storage System, you can do exactly that. If you check my inventory now, you will see I have 350 out of a maximum of 355 carry weight. I have quite a few big weapons as well as a few small ones. But I'm now going to get out of my power armor, and instead of being over encumbered, I can run around just fine. Why is that? Well, I have a few less weapons, and my maximum carry weight has been reduced. It's only 205 now. I'm not in my power armor, but so has my carry weight, and that is because I've left behind the missile launcher and super sledge, the big boy, and my minigun in the armor, along with all of the ammo needed for those weapons. Now, of course, you cannot see the minigun or the rocket launcher on the power armor, but then you can't see the kind of large plasma rifle that Frank is carrying either. Using this mod is actually very easy. All you need to do is go into your Pip-Boy inventory and use a holotape called, we'll find it for you now, the Power Armor Storage System. You go along to the internal storage configuration options and you select what you want to leave behind. By default, ammo is set to on, but heavy guns and melee weapons were set to off. I just simply switched those both to on, and then as soon as I stepped out of my armor, all of my heavy guns, all of my melee weapons, and all of the ammo for the heavy guns was left behind in the armor. It was that simple. It really took no time at all to use. As you can see now, I step out, all of those items are left on the armor, except one. If you look at my weapons, I still have one melee weapon. So how did I do that? Well, when I first used the mod, I didn't have that. However, you can use the same holotape to dictate certain weapons that will and will not be stored. So let's go back, go to the Power Armor Storage System. What I did is I went along to Manage Weapon and Ammo Definitions, and I went to Melee. It then tells me to exit the heads-up display menu. I did. It gives me this menu, and it now allows me to move melee weapons, and only melee weapons. If I try to use the minigun, nothing will happen. I can move melee weapons backwards and forwards, and it will know when I step out of my armor, leave the super sledge with the armor, but keep the Ripper on you, because you never know, I might get attacked out of armor. Each power armor set will actually have its own settings, so you can have completely different setups, completely different loadouts for each power armor suit, and when you step into each you will have different weapons. And there is even an option to remove the fusion core on exit if you don't want people stealing all of your power armor if you've got several sets of it lying around, each with a different loadout.
Yeah.
As you can see, There is no fusion core in that armor now. If you like powered armor and big guns, but at the same time you like to get out of your powered armor to do things like looting, conversations, trading, and various other things, this mod is going to save you a lot of hassle, and the range of options is amazing. This is a really well done mod. I was so impressed with the last mod that I had to check if its creator had any other mods, and indeed they did. This is the Tactical Assist System Toolkit, a tool that will allow you to change modifications on your weapons in the field. It will only allow you to do things like add silencers and scopes, but if you want a 10mm pistol and you want to change from, say, muzzle brake to a suppressor, and perhaps glow sights to a reflex sight, you can do that as long as you have the mod in your backpack already. You can't create it, you have to have created it at a proper workstation, and you have this tool. Obviously you can only do this out of powered armor because it uses the standard crafting system, but I now have a 10mm pistol with a reflex sight and a suppressor. If I do the same thing again, you have to close the pit boy. I can now remove the reflex sight, say, and change back to glow sights. And I say again, you cannot change barrels even if you have them in your inventory. You can't do anything complex, only the suppressor, compensator, that sort of a thing. Let's go for no muzzle. And I actually have brought along a scope, a reflex scope for my plasma rifle. And I can change them in the field so that I no longer need a silenced pistol and a non-silenced pistol. I can just change when I need. There are other mods that will allow you to drop portable workbenches, and those will actually let you craft new mods and change anything that you want. However, I actually like this mod because of its restrictions, because all it does is allow me to add a scope or perhaps a silencer, things that would be reasonable to add in the field. I think this mod feels right. It feels perfectly reasonable, it feels balanced, and above all, it is very, very useful. This is the SH Assault Revolver. The technical specifications for this weapon are that it's a bloody monster. I mean, it's not that big, but for some reason it just gives off a vibe of being enormous. It could be the blocky nature of the weapon, or the fact that it uses ammunition more commonly used in an assault rifle, or the fact that with the best receiver it does 98 damage with 0 skill in gunslinger. That's right, this is the unskilled damage that this weapon does. Imagine that with 5 ranks of gunslinger. This weapon is not only endgame capable, it may actually be the only weapon you need once you get there, because you can modify it to be a short range weapon with a reflex sight, or a long range weapon with compensators, scopes, and an exceptionally long barrel. This weapon is extremely moddable, not just the usual receivers, barrels and grips, but you can add a variety of laser sights to this weapon, and the laser sights work in first person. You can actually see the dot of where your weapon is aiming. You can add a flashlight, you can add a suppressor. You can even change the standard sights at the front to be fibre optics of various different colour, and the rear sights to either be standard iron rear sights or fibre optic rear sights with a variety of colours again. I quite like the green. And those choices are actually independent of whether or not you have a scope installed. Obviously you're probably not going to be using those sights, but perhaps you just wanted the back of your weapon to have a certain colour scheme. Maybe you wanted it to be blue. You could do that even though you have a scope. And you can even change the action. This is the single action. down the sights. With the double action, you can shoot a lot faster. I'll show you that aiming as well. And then there is automatic, although I don't think this is correctly named, but you will see what it is. That's right! God, I love that. You can fan with this weapon. I did find if you aim whilst doing this, even if you take your finger off the trigger, so to speak, you will unload the entire cylinder. However, if you just tap the fire when firing from the hip, you can do this. However, if you aim and then finish it off, you will only get the last 2 shots, for example. So it does in fact remember how many shots you've taken. This means if you're comfortable shooting without aiming, or you're using a laser sight, for example, you can do a couple of single shots and then quickly unload the rest if need be. I wish we could do the same when aiming, but you know, it doesn't seem to be possible. We can't have everything, can we? Now, usually I do prefer the more classic style revolvers, but I'm an open-minded kind of guy, and this is an incredible weapon. It looks great, it looks very, very intimidating, and it packs enough of a punch to pretty much put anything down that you're going to meet, and it is so moddable you'll be able to pretty much set it up for every situation. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is all we have time for this time. I will be ending with the screenshots that you guys have been posting as usual. A big thank you to everybody who has posted so far. I will leave a link down below to a video that shows you how you can upload an image for me to use in one of my videos if you would like to do so, and I do appreciate it, so please feel free to click on that link. I'll be back soon with more great mods to share with you, and I would love it if you could join me for that video or any of my other videos. But whichever video you decide to join me for, I look forward to seeing you there, and until then, remember as always, have fun. If you're curious as to whether I've covered a mod in one of my videos, feel free to go along to my website gophersvids.com and check the search functionality out. Just type the name of the mod you're interested in, open up the settings and filter by mods only. Click for search and you will see whether or not I've covered that mod. Click on the mod and it will also show you any of the videos this mod appears in.